Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the video that wasn't even supposed to be. So, I was doing some business stuff today. I'm starting 3 new businesses. I know what you're thinking during the midst of COVID. Damn, must be crazy. Probably am, but hey, give it a shot. You never know, right? And so, I was looking at competitor prices, their products, how they do things, their customer service. And these are things you do to that way when you start, you know about where you're at in the field, how they're performing, stuff like that. So uh, I don't do it straight all day. I'll take a little break here and there. So on one of my little breaks, I opened up my Facebook, took a look, saw the most disgusting thing. One of my friends had tagged me in something because I'm not a lockdown person. Wear a mask, social distance, but you can't be shutting down these small businesses. You can't do it. And the reason they're picking on the small businesses, could you imagine if the governor or your mayor came out and said Walmart has to close today? Walmart sue the holy living hell out of them. Walmart would own their family for the next 4 generations. See, the small business owner usually doesn't have availability to those kind of funds, though. That's why they go after the small businesses. That's why Walmart stays open. That's why these big tech companies stay open and don't have to adhere to what we adhere to. But one of my friends, of course, was pushing the lockdowns. And if you push the lockdowns, that's your business. It's just the way it's being done without any thought or care for small business. See, what you're not thinking about, we have to stop the spread of COVID because that's what the Crying Negro over at the Crying Negro Network, Don Lemon, tells you you have to do. But the only way he's telling you is he still has a job. What if they said, no, can't have CNN because the size of their building and the number of employees to put a show out costs too much. Or not costs too much, but involves too many people and spreads the COVID. It comes, I think, from a lack of empathy and being stuck in your own situation. And having, after so many years, 4 years of following just whatever CNN tells you, just whatever the Democrat politicians tell you, just whatever AOC says, it's a lot of Americans have lost the ability to think for themselves. I have a friend who's in the catering business. Very good dude. I have a friend who owns a restaurant. I advise, it's a tea restaurant. They're doing takeout. I don't even know how that's going to work. I have a friend who owns a tattoo shop. Well, guess what? There's no takeout for them. There's no takeout. They're probably all three, including various other friends I know, so a number of them are probably going to lose their businesses that I've seen them work hard on for years, that I've seen them miss family gatherings, miss the first few years of their kids' lives trying to get this business off the ground to leave the very kids they're having something. You know who's in favor of lockdowns? Nurses, truck drivers, essential workers, because they're not being financially affected. You see, because they're not going to miss rent next month. They're going to be able to pay their rent. But a lot of people won't. Give consideration to the poor woman who for 8 to 10 hours a day used to get a break, or the poor guy, actually, for that matter. I've seen it both ways. I'm telling you, when it's the other way, it's freaking scary, man. Whew. So, but who used to get an 8-10 hour break a day from that alcoholic, abusive partner. Or the kid in that same situation where they used to get a break from their miserable family life by going to school and talking with their friends and having seen other adults to live an example off of. Because school was one of the biggest things for me. My dad was a great example, grandparents, of course. But you get to meet so many other adults who've taken different paths and do different things, so you learn a lot. And I got to honestly say, from all of my teachers, I took a little something. I took the majority of my personality from my father and my grandfathers. But from every teacher, I took a little something. A little something. We had this one teacher, principal, Mr. Welch. I took patience from him. And I took the way I handle patience. Not so because both my grandfathers, all three of my grandfathers had patience. But the way Mr. Welch handled it was a little different. I learned to lower my voice actually from one of my teachers. When you're talking to people, you don't scream at them. You don't get in. You learn all these little things that you don't even think about till you get much older. But you're watching and you're learning. So imagine the kid in that situation. So just because your household hasn't been affected and you want the lockdowns to continue for however long, let me pose a little query to you. When a person gets COVID, where do they go? The hospital. So when a person gets COVID and they're in the hospital till they're cured, a week or two, why wouldn't we? Because keep in mind, that staff, they're stopping and they're going home to their families. And if they stop on the grocery store, the gas station, they take their dog out for a walk, hug their kids, kiss their husband, they're quite possibly spreading COVID. So what would happen if we said, no, if you're a nurse in the essential field and you want to work, you have to remain on hospital grounds and you can't have visitors. Kind of like the idea of the NBA thing. You have to be here. If not, then you can't come here at all, and we're not going to pay you. Oh, things would change then. Then they would care about the lockdowns. Or to everyone who's a cross-country truck driver. What if the federal government came out and said, no, you can't cross county lines. We have to keep this thing down. That's going to cut that income, isn't it? Then I bet you don't want lockdowns, do you? So have some freaking compassion for other people who have been shut out in this COVID thing and act like a freaking human. Fucking act like a human. Understand there are people in positions that they didn't cause. And pray for them. And pray these lockdowns are over soon. So thank you for watching this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, share, do what you got to do.